could have done this. I should have done that. Those are examples of phrases that express regret over something that has already happened. Some people say things happen for a reason, but what if the thing that happened is something so unpleasant that you'd want to rewrite the fate of that very event? We all know that what has happened, and needless to say, something in the past is something unalterable. Of course, changing the past also means changing the future, and whatever circumstances that happen in the present always have something to do with what has happened in the past. If you were able to change the unfortunate fate of someone else, would you get yourself involved and risk being faced with the difficulties of trying to alter the outcome? Or would you simply turn a blind eye and let your conscience consume you? Erased is a thriller mystery manga series, written and illustrated by Kei Sanbe. It starts by introducing the main character, a 28-year-old mangaka named Satoru Fujinuma. He questions the manga he creates and wouldn't like to discover more about himself, since he is afraid that he might be a boring and hollow person. He experiences a phenomenon which he calls rerun, which allows him to see around a minute into the future to be able to have a chance to prevent something catastrophic. That being said, he isn't getting anything from it, yet he keeps involving himself in that matter and getting himself in dangerous situations. It is revealed later on that there were 3 students aged 10 that were kidnapped and killed. Satoru begins looking for the culprit since he feels something is wrong and wasn't able to ease the anxiety that the rerun phenomenon gave him. When her mother was researching about the case, he went to tell Satoru, only to get herself stabbed and killed by the very same person. Satoru shortly arrives, and not only wasn't he able to save her mother, but he also got framed for its murder. After the events that happened, he was surprised to find out that he managed to go back in time, years before all the incidents happened. He decided to find all the victims and make sure they won't end up in the same fate as they once had. Kayo Hinazuki is one of the victims, as well as Sugita Hiromi. He found out that Kayo is being abused at home, and her mother became one of the suspects that he had in mind. He left back and forth through the past and the present to unravel the discoveries that lead him to the truth. His efforts to protect Kayo were rewarded in the end, when he hid her away from her abusive household until they told his homeroom teacher named Yashiro Gaku and contacted Child Protective Services to act upon it. Another victim introduced was Nakanishi Aya, who appears to be a girl who is often alone. Satoru decides to befriend her and watch over her in hopes to prevent something tragic. He ended up bringing 3 of the victims together and is now trying to find who the murderer was. The usual school life for them continues. However, as the hints grow increasingly apparent, the suspects are getting reduced one by one, and Satoru is slowly closing in on the case. Later on, they had an event which involved being in an ice hockey arena. Satoru continues on watching over the victims and feels that something is about to go wrong. Aya went outside the arena, to which he follows her and loses track of her. He suddenly meets with his homeroom teacher and asks for his help to follow a truck which he thinks Aya is in. While inside the car, they had conversations about Satoru's play detective, and it is later revealed that his homeroom teacher, Yashiro, was the one responsible for the crimes that were supposed to be committed. He was surprised since Satoru was always ruining his plans, so he decided to drown the car alongside Satoru in hopes to kill him. Satoru didn't die. However, He was in a coma for 15 years. After he awoke, his body still weak and unable to move. His memories remain foggy. Kaya later arrived in his hospital room with a baby in her hands. Satoru couldn't help but cry and be happy, although he didn't know the reason why, since he still couldn't remember his memories. As he slowly recovers his memories and reading through his documents, he felt the need to know something. The case still being unsolved, Satoru finally remembers who was behind the crime. They set up a trap in order to catch him and was eventually caught. In the end, all of the victims were saved by their protagonist Satoru, as well as the other people involved in the case, and helped him put it to an end. Everyone goes on with their days, and Satoru looks back on his vague memories. He changed the outcomes of their unfortunate fate and was able to create a happy ending to not only the other people, but to himself as well. The future is always blank, and only through willpower will we be able to change it.